Hello and welcome to another decisions training video. Today we are going to be going over the Settings.Xml. This is part of a series that will be discussing particular functions categorized into different features of the platform that you can alter or work with by changing or getting information from the Settings.Xml document. In this particular video, we are going to be discussing the file storage settings specifically. So, before we get into that part, I want to mention that you can find the Settings.Xml typically on the environment in which you install decisions. The default storage location is your local drive, program files, decisions, decisions server, and then within there should be the Settings.Xml file. However, if you specified a different file storage location, or if you're running in a containerized environment, this location might be different. This is the Settings.Xml that we will be referencing throughout this video. So, making modifications to the Settings.Xml will be necessary for two particular functions in the decisions platform. Those being changing the file storage location and allowing file steps in decisions to use network drives. So let's go over that first one. There are a variety of scenarios in which you would want to edit the file storage location. The first one being if you're in a clustered environment and you need to make sure that the file storage is located in a centralized place where all servers can access the same folder. If you didn't set this up during installation, this would be the way that you change it. The second reason is maybe you're trying to move the file storage to a drive with more disk space. And yet another reason that you might want to move this location is due to compliance reasons. Perhaps you need to move it to a shared network folder that can be accessed by your IT or ops department. So the way that we do this is quite simple. Firstly, you need to make sure that you turn off decisions. So make sure that the application is not running while you perform this change. Secondly, navigate to the Settings.Xml as outlined at the start of this video and find the line called File Storage Location. From there, you will want to change the current path, which is by default the one that you can see there in red on the screen, to your new file storage path. You will then want to actually move the file storage folder to the path that you specified. And then lastly, start the decision service. It's that simple. So it's going to look something like this. Alright, so here I am inside of the server running my decisions environment. So if we want to make a change to the file storage location, the first thing we need to do is stop the decision service altogether. So I am self-hosted. I can find this in my services right here and click stop. If you're IIS hosted, you will have to go through IIS in order to stop the decisions service. Now that this is stopped, I'm going to minimize this, and here we are in the Settings.Xml. Now I want to change the file storage location to a different drive altogether for more space. So I'm going to change this to my D drive, and I have a folder there called Program Files, okay? So it is going to be D Program Files File Storage. All right, I'm going to save this. And now that we have the new location determined, I'm going to pull up my file directory, grab the file storage, and I'm going to move it to that D drive. And now that that's complete, we start the decisions service, and you will have moved your file storage. Make sure that the decisions service account has access to this new file storage location. Now let's discuss our other use case, utilizing the file steps in decisions. These steps allow you to create, move, and delete files within the file directory in which the decision server is locally installed. However, if you want it to be able to access other files that may be accessible externally, such as shared network drives or any sort of shared file storage, typically this is going to require a change to the Settings.Xml. The Settings.Xml has a line that allows you to put particular access paths that, as long as the service account running decisions has access to, can then use files within that particular directory from the decisions platform. This allows you to move around files in network folders, as well as access other files that maybe Decisions doesn't know how to natively access. You would specify in the allowed file access paths your particular folder path. And as you can see in the formatting here, you would just put that in between that particular line in the Settings.Xml. After you've inserted your folder paths that you want, and you can insert multiple, you would then restart the decision service. And again, as long as your service account running Decisions has access to those file paths, you should be able to access those files and work with them in the Decisions Flow Designer or anything that is using those files with the file steps in Decisions. So that would look something like this. So here I am inside of my Decisions environment, and I've got a process here that allows me to either remove, create, or delete files. Now let's say I want to perform actions with the files in paths that are typically restricted to the Decisions environment. The way that I would allow Decisions to access them is by navigating to the Settings.Xml, and then over here where it says allowed file access paths, I want to add a new path. In fact, I have an external drive that I want Decisions to be able to access. So I will set that up here as so. Give that a save, and then I will restart the Decisions environment. Okay, now that it's restarted, we are now going to save a file to that drive. We are actually going to create one. So I'm going to specify the file name as test file. I am going to specify the file path to the one that we created. And I will be uploading an Excel file. Now when I perform this action, you will see that there are no errors. And when I go to that folder path, you can see the file listed here in our specified file path, which is not where Decisions is installed. Now a reminder on this, the service account that is running Decisions must have access to the drive that you are trying to save the files to. The drive, the network folder, whatever external source Decisions is trying to connect to, the service account running Decisions must have the appropriate permissions to read and or write to that source. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this helped.